Good evening, President Davis, fellow trustees, Superintendent Asrani, Cabinet, and our MJUSD community. I'm Jen Pasalia, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, and I will summarize the 2022-23 unaudited actuals. I will talk about the budget cycle, compare the estimated actuals to the unaudited actuals, the general fund ending fund balance, the variance summary, components of fund balance, the GAN limit, COVID relief funds, and looking forward. Under current law, a school district must adopt its budget by July 1st and submit a report of actual financial results to the County Office of Education for the prior fiscal year by September 15th. The next step is to provide those actual financial results for independent review and audit by the district's independent external auditors, who prepare a final audit report to be presented to the Board of Education in January 2024. As you can see from this chart, the budget is a living document that takes life on July 1st and includes financial updates throughout the fiscal year. We'll be back in December for the 23-24 first interim financial report, and in January, we will hear from the governor's budget proposal for the 24-25 fiscal year. February, the 23-24 second interim financial report will be presented to the board, and the 24-25 LCAP and budget planning will occur from April through May. And in June, we'll bring the LCAP and budget before the board for adoption, which then will start the budget cycle all over again. The general fund is comprised of unrestricted and restricted funds. The unrestricted funds include the primary operations of the district. The state, federal, and local grants fund the restricted budget, and these funds are limited to the programs and purposes outlined by each grant or allocation. At the adoption of the 2023-24 budget in June, estimated actual financial amounts for the 2022-23 were presented as part of the budget forms. A comparison of what was estimated in June versus actual financial amounts will be provided in the upcoming slides. We will begin with the unrestricted general fund. Unrestricted revenues closed the year with an increase of $1.5 million, and expenditures resulted in a savings of $16.2 million for a total increase of $17.7 million to the ending balance. Unrestricted expenditures include salaries and benefits, books and supplies, other services and operations, capital outlay, and contributions to our routine maintenance and special education programs. Items such as textbooks, supplies for the classroom, custodial, vehicle repair, and fuel are captured in books and supplies. Other services and operating expenses include agreements for services, equipment repair, utilities, and travel and conference expenses. 97% of unrestricted revenue comes from our local control funding formula, or LCFF. Salary and benefits are more than half of the unrestricted expenditures. The restricted general fund closed 22-23 with a decrease of $37.2 million in revenues and $45 million in savings in expenditures for a total increase to the fund balance of $7.8 million. 48% of restricted revenues come from the state grants and allocation, and more than half of our expenditures are for salary and benefits. The combined general fund reflects a $33 million decrease in overall revenue and $58 million savings in expenditures for an approximate $25 million increase to the ending fund balance. 61% of total revenues are from the local control funding formula, and 73% of expenditures go towards our salary and benefits. Here's a summary of the total ending fund balance. The ending balance increased from $62 million at estimated actuals to $87.7 million, an increase of $25.7 million. The $25.7 million increase is due to various reasons. The increase in the unrestricted funds can be attributed to savings and carryover in site allocations and contributions and one-time projects. Those one-time projects are high school tracks, and that will carry over into the next budget year. The 7.8 increase to the restricted fund balance is due to a decrease in learning recovery funds and one-time funds that will move over into the next year for our Covalot and Foothill projects. And some restricted revenues like Title I and COVID relief funds are subject to unearned revenue, which means that we can't recognize that revenue until we spend it. The ending fund balance of $87.6 million is comprised of $30,000 in revolving cash, $400,000 in stores, $41 million in restricted balances, $5 million in reserve for economic uncertainty, $11 million committed to facilities, safety and technology, and $30 in other assignments. This is a snapshot of the COVID relief funds the district has received. ESSER 3 has a remaining balance of $1.4 million with a spending deadline of September 2024. Every year, with the unaudited actuals, the Board of Education authorizes the GAN limit resolution. The GAN limit, also known as Proposition 4, was approved by voters in 1979 to keep state and local government spending capped at the 1978-79 spending levels. For school districts, the limit may be an issue if revenues from taxes increase at a greater rate than ADA and inflation, or if the district experiences a drop in ADA. So beginning in 1987, school districts are able to request the state to share some of the state's limit to cover the shortfall. This is automatic in the standardized account code structure software that incorporates the GAN limit worksheet and request. MJUSD's GAN limit worksheet can be found on pages 110 through 112 in the 22-23 unaudited actual packet. EdCode requires that school boards adopt a resolution identifying the estimated spending limit for the current year and the actual spending limit for the preceding fiscal year by September 15th. Looking forward, we'll see you in December with our 2023-24 first interim financial report. In January, we'll hear what the governor proposes for the 2024-25 fiscal year. And then in March, we'll see you for the 23-24 second interim financial report. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Cindy Helms, the Director of Fiscal, and her team for all her hard work in closing the books this year. And also thank you this evening for listening to my presentation.